Have you ever wondered why your safe neighborhood feels more like a surveillance state run by one smiling tyrant? What if the woman lecturing you about community standards was the same one quietly pocketing your Amazon orders? And what happens when the queen of the HOA finally gets caught with her hands literally dyed the color of guilt? I moved to Whispering Pines 6 months ago, thinking I'd found suburban heaven. Cul-de-sacs so quiet you could hear the mortgage payments. Lawns mowed to military precision. Neighbors who wave like we were all in the same wholesome Netflix special. After a nasty divorce back in the city, I wanted order. I wanted rules. Boy, did I get them. Victoria Langford, Vicky to her loyal subjects, had been HOA president for 9 straight years. She greeted me on move-in day wearing a pastel cardigan and a smile sharp enough to cut glass. "Marcus Reed, welcome to Whispering Pines," she cooed, handing me a welcome packet thicker than my divorce decree. "We're all about harmony here, as long as everyone follows the guidelines." She said guidelines the way other people say Holy Scripture. I smiled back, clueless. That was my first mistake. Life settled into its plastic rhythm fast. Every Tuesday, the lawn inspector, yes, they had one, walked the block with a measuring tape and a clipboard. Grass taller than 3.5 inches? $50 fine. Mailbox flag left up after 6 p.m.? Another 50. My neighbor got cited once for hanging Christmas lights 2 days past the HOA's official festive window. The letter actually called it visual pollution. I laughed when I heard that. I stopped laughing the day my first package vanished. It was a Tuesday, 3:17 p.m. Delivery notification pinged my phone. Left at front door. Nothing expensive, just new wireless earbuds I needed for work calls. I got home at 6. Porch empty. No note. No sorry we missed you slip. Just the faint indent where the box had been. I checked the Ring camera. Delivery guy sets it down. Walks away. 2 minutes later, a figure in a gray Whispering Pines HOA hoodie strolls up, picks up the box like it's mail he's authorized to collect, and disappears toward the community center without a single nervous glance. I told myself it was a mix-up. Maybe some new package security protocol Vicky had mentioned in last month's newsletter. The one titled Protecting What's Ours, Together. Cute. I emailed the board. Polite. Professional. Hey, any chance the HOA picked up my delivery for safekeeping? Vicky replied in 12 minutes flat. "Marcus, we take resident security so seriously. Volunteers sometimes secure unattended packages to prevent porch piracy. I'll look into it personally. Community first." She even added a little heart emoji. I almost believed her. Almost. 10 days later, it happened again. This time a $180 standing desk riser I actually needed. Same time window. Same hoodie. Same casual stroll. Same direction, straight toward the locked HOA storage shed behind the clubhouse. I zoomed in on the footage. The guy's name tag was visible for half a second. Todd. The part-time groundskeeper everyone called Good Old Todd because he smiled and never complained. I didn't scream. I didn't post on the neighborhood Facebook page. I just sat on my couch and felt that cold, slow burn start in my gut, the kind that tells you the system isn't broken. It's working exactly as designed. That weekend, the fines started arriving. First notice, lawn measured at 3.62 inches. $75. I'd mowed it Sunday morning with the same mower every other house used. Second notice the next day, recycling bin visible from street for 12 minutes past approved storage time. Another $100. Third one came with a personal touch. Vicky's signature in blue ink. Seasonal wreath on door exceeds diameter limit per covenant 4.7b. $125. It was a plain fall wreath the size of a dinner plate. Half the block had identical ones. I called the office. Vicky picked up on the first ring. Voice syrupy sweet. "Marcus, sweetie, rules are rules. We apply them equally to everyone. You wouldn't want special treatment, would you?" I could hear her smiling through the phone, the kind of smile that says I own this zip code and you're just renting space in it. By the end of the week, I was down $300 and suddenly invisible to neighbors who used to wave. Mrs. Abernathy crossed the street when she saw me. The couple at 142 pretended to be on their phones. I'd been labeled the difficult one. The guy who didn't understand community. That's when I started watching. Really watching. I changed my walking route. Timed it to match Todd's maintenance schedule. Noticed how his golf cart always took the same lazy loop past the same 6 houses. The ones without doorbell cameras. The newer residents. The ones who still thought complaining would get them anywhere. I started chatting with people at the mailbox. Casual. No pressure. Turns out Mrs. Abernathy had lost 3 medication shipments. The couple at 142 never received their wedding anniversary wine club box. Little old Mr. Park had been waiting on a custom mobility scooter part for 6 weeks. Everyone had emailed Vicky. Everyone got the same scripted reply about protecting the community. The pattern was so clean, it was almost beautiful. Packages disappeared only on Tuesdays and Thursdays between 2 and 4 p.m., Todd's exact shift. They always traveled the same route to the storage shed. And every time someone pushed back too hard, the find machine started up like clockwork. I bought a cheap notebook and started mapping it. Red dots for every missing package. Blue arrows for Todd's path. A neat little constellation all orbiting one house. Victoria Langford's perfect colonial at the end of the cul-de-sac. The one with the 3-car garage and the American flag that somehow never faded. I wasn't angry anymore. I was fascinated. This wasn't random theft. This was curated, branded, and gift-wrapped in pastel HOA stationery. Vicky had turned porch piracy into a community service. I kept my mouth shut and my camera rolling. I ordered 3 more test packages, nothing valuable. Just bait. Placed them at different houses on the route with permission from the owners, who were now quietly furious. Same result every time. Todd. Hoodie. Storage shed. And every time. Exactly 43 minutes later. Vicky's silver Lexus would glide past the shed like she was just checking on things. The final piece clicked when I saw Todd sitting alone in his cart one afternoon, staring at the steering wheel like it owed him money. I walked over. Offered him a cold Coke from my fridge. Rough day? Man. He looked at me for a long second, then sighed. She calls it asset recovery, says it's for the maintenance fund. I got 2 kids in private school. What am I supposed to do? He didn't say her name. He didn't have to. That night, I made a decision. No more emails. No more polite questions. I was going to speak the only language Vicky understood, undeniable. Public. Humiliating proof. I ordered the kit from 3 different security websites, bank-grade die packs, pressure triggers, micro cameras the size of dimes, non-toxic, non-lethal, impossible to wash off for 72 hours. The same stuff banks use when they're tired of being robbed. I spent 3 nights in my garage building the perfect Trojan horse, a plain cardboard box with a false bottom, a cheap Bluetooth speaker inside as cover, and enough blue dye to paint a small car. I placed the trap at Mr. Park's house, the one with the best camera angle and 0 HOA cameras nearby. We staged it perfectly. Visible porch. Tuesday, 2:45 delivery window. Tracking number forwarded to both of us. At 2:47, the delivery guy dropped it. At 2:51, Todd's cart rolled up. At 2:53, he carried the box into the storage shed like it was just another Tuesday. I waited in my living room with the live feed open. Heart hammering so loud I could taste it. 41 minutes later, the micro camera inside the box activated. The footage was crystal clear. Vicky's manicured hands slicing the tape. Her satisfied little hum as she opened the flaps. Then the soft pop of the trigger. A bright blue explosion, like a clown car full of Smurfs, detonated in her face. The scream she let out was pure poetry. She dropped the box. Stumbled backward into a shelf of recovered packages, blue from fingertips to elbows, even a perfect smear across her right cheek, like war paint from hell. I saved 3 copies, uploaded them to an encrypted drive, and went to bed smiling for the first time in months. The monthly board meeting was 3 days later. Vicky showed up in a long-sleeved blouse and white gardening gloves, claiming she'd pruned roses too aggressively. The room smelled like coffee and quiet desperation. 27 residents packed in, more than I'd ever seen. I guess word travels when the Queen starts wearing gloves in September. I waited until open forum. Stood up calm as Sunday morning. I'd like to address the recent package security program, I said. Vicky's smile froze like cheap Botox. I plugged in my laptop. First slide, 6 different Ring videos of Todd collecting boxes. Second slide, the map with every red dot and blue arrow. Gasps rippled through the room. Third slide, the internal camera footage. The pop. The blue explosion. The scream. The room went dead silent except for one woman whispering, "Oh my God." I turned to Vicky. "Victoria, before we go any further, could you please remove your right glove? For the community." Of course. Her face did something complicated. Rage. Fear. Calculation. Then that fake smile snapped back on like a rubber band. "This is ridiculous." I injured my hand. "Blue dye is notoriously hard to explain away," I said softly. "Especially bank-grade stuff that lasts 4 days." The board chair, old Mr. Whitaker, who'd been on the board longer than Vicky had been president, cleared his throat. "Vicky, the glove." She stood there for 5 full seconds, the entire room staring. Then, with shaking fingers, she peeled it off. The blue was glorious. Bright. Vivid. Impossible to miss. It looked like she'd fist-bumped a Smurf and lost. Pandemonium. People started shouting dates of their missing packages. Mrs. Abernathy actually cried. Mr. Park stood up and said, "My wife's medicine was in one of those boxes." Todd, sitting in the back, finally spoke. She told me it was all authorized. Said the fines paid for the kids' school fund. I didn't know. Vicky tried. Oh, she tried. This is a setup. He booby-trapped a package. That's assault. But her voice cracked on the word community, and everyone heard it. The board voted right there. Suspended immediately. Police called. Storage shed to be inventoried that night with witnesses. 3 weeks later, the sheriff's department had enough evidence for felony theft charges. Vicky sold her house in a panic and moved to a condo in another state. Rumor said she tried to join their HOA, but they rejected her application after a background check. The new board installed package lockers, real cameras, and a policy that any security measure now required 3 signatures and a notary. Todd kept his job, but under new supervision and with a very public apology tour. Neighbors started waving again. Mrs. Abernathy brought me homemade cookies with a note that just said, "Thank you." Mr. Park's new scooter part arrived the normal way, on his porch. Untouched. I still live in Whispering Pines. The lawns are still perfect. The flags still wave. But now when someone says community standards, people actually laugh. Because we all learned the same lesson the hard way. The most dangerous person in any neighborhood isn't the one breaking the rules. It's the one writing them while stealing your stuff. And sometimes all it takes to bring the whole perfect little kingdom down is one blue hand and one guy who finally stopped looking away. The days after the meeting felt surreal, like waking up from a long, pastel-colored nightmare. The neighborhood app, once a nonstop feed of Vicky's passive-aggressive reminders, went strangely quiet. Then the apologies started trickling in. Private messages. I should have spoken up. I was scared of the fines too. One guy even admitted he'd paid $300 in bogus citations just to keep the peace. We all had. The police investigation moved faster than anyone expected. Turns out the storage shed was a gold mine. 47 unclaimed packages. Some still in original wrapping. A few open with items missing. Vicky had been reselling the good stuff on a secondary Facebook marketplace under a fake name. The maintenance fund she always bragged about, mostly her private Amazon wishlist. I didn't gloat. I didn't need to. The blue hands did all the talking for me. At the emergency board meeting 2 weeks later, the new interim president, an actual retired accountant who cared more about numbers than power, read the full inventory out loud. When he got to one custom mobility scooter part belonging to Mr. Park, the room actually cheered. Mr. Park wiped his eyes and nodded at me across the aisle. Small victories, but they tasted sweet. Todd came forward with a written statement. He didn't throw Vicky under the bus so much as gently place her there and step back. She made it sound like we were heroes, he said. Voice cracking. Keeping the neighborhood safe from porch pirates. I have 2 kids. I needed the overtime. The board gave him probation and community service, helping install the new package lockers. He's been showing up early every Saturday. Head down. actually smiling again. Vicky tried one last power move. She sent a mass email from her personal account claiming the whole thing was a coordinated harassment campaign by disgruntled residents. She even attached a photo of her blue hand with a caption, "Victim of vigilante justice." Someone screenshotted it and turned it into a meme within 20 minutes. By dinner, the entire subdivision was texting each other variations of "Blue Karen strikes again." She moved out the following weekend. I watched the moving truck roll past my house at 7 a.m. on a Sunday, technically a violation of the noise ordinance she used to enforce so gleefully. Poetic. The new rules are boring in the best way. Packages now go to secure lockers with PIN codes. Fines require photo evidence, 2 board signatures, and a 48-hour appeal window. The lawn inspector still walks around, but now he waves and says, "Looking good," instead of pulling out the tape measure like it's a weapon. I still take my evening walks. The air feels different, lighter. People stop and chat instead of pretending to check their phones. Last week, Mrs. Abernathy invited me over for coffee and told me her granddaughter finally got the birthday gift that had vanished 6 months earlier. She cried again. Happy tears this time. Yesterday, a new family moved in 3 doors down. Young couple. Excited. Nervous. I watched Vicky 2.0, another perfectly dressed woman in a pastel cardigan, walk over with the welcome packet. She introduced herself as the new social chair. The new residents smiled politely. I almost warned them. Almost. Instead, I just sipped my coffee on the porch and let the sun hit my face. They'll figure it out. Or they won't. But at least now the system has brakes. At least now someone's watching the watchers. Power in a place like Whispering Pines doesn't disappear. It just changes hands. The trick is making sure the new hands stay clean. And if they don't, well, I still have the dye pack recipe saved. Just in case. Because some lessons you only need to teach once. And the color blue has never looked more beautiful on a former HOA queen. Never let a smiling tyrant rewrite the rules while picking your pocket. Pay attention. Document everything. And when the moment comes, make the truth impossible to ignore. One quiet guy with a camera and some blue dye reminded an entire neighborhood that real community starts when the bullies lose their grip. Stay watchful. Folks, your packages and your peace depend on it.